Welcome back to Kicking It with Kenya. This episode is really crazy to say, like to start out with, because we lost a great Chadwick Boseman. And it's still weird to say, like, what kind of year is 2020? Like, to say things like, we lost Kobe Bryant, we lost Pop Smoke, we lost Chadwick Boseman. It's like, we're losing names here, and it's still not over. And it's like, with the Chadwick Boseman thing, I just feel like he's going to be missed. His time was cut very short. He was in the midst of filming a lot of other things. He got a lot of good work under his belt that will always be, revered. But like, one of the biggest things that everybody's wondering is like, Black Panther 2. Like, he was in the midst of filming that before he start. I think he died before they began production.
Yeah, they had to push everything back due to coronavirus, but they didn't start filming yet.
And I just feel like, and just to even know that he secretly had this illness with him for all these years. When he was losing weight, I really thought it was for a role. I didn't think he was sick. I was like, what are you about to play now? Like, remember when 50 Cent dropped all that weight for that movie that went nowhere? But I just felt like, I'm like, what are you about to play now that got him looking like this? But it's like, I know a lot of people are like right now up in arms with what we should do with Black Panther 2. That's telling your mind. What we should do with Black Panther 2. Some people's like, no, that's Chad's role. I even saw some people say there shouldn't be a Black Panther 2. I saw some people say like, it should be Shuri. I don't know, like, or some people just saying like, oh, can we CGI his face on like they did with Paul Walker? But I feel like the difference with Fast and the Furious is they was already filming that. So they only CGI'd Paul Walker in a few scenes, right?
Well, yeah, they used his brother as a stand-in, but there's movies like I believe Star Wars did that with Leia's character, and the technology we have now is even beyond what they did in Furious 7. So, yeah, you could CG, but a lot of people do feel like that's kind of in bad taste to do that when an actor, especially this one, is fresh. The actor just died. I mean, Black Panther wears a mask. You can try to disguise it like that, but I think the rumor is that they are going to have T'Challa die off screen and Shuri take his place as the new Black Panther.
We don't got no scenes they could use? Nothing?
Well,
there has to be some extra from the Black Panther 1 that they could like not kill him off screen.
Well, I think that the character of T'Challa dying off screen would kind of be, it would be a little bit, not necessarily just in bad taste, but I feel like that character was such a good character. I feel like it would be disrespectful to do that. Like, I wouldn't have a problem with you CGIing him. Like, say, if you have a scene, like if you start Black Panther with a time jump and you have like Shuri already in Black Panther form, say she does some kick-ass fight scenes, some kick-ass action, and then she comes home to her lab. And then she takes the mask off, puts the mask down, and then she has like a reflection moment.
That'd be nice, like a flashback with T'Challa.
Like, well, even beyond that, like say she has like a reflection moment, and you do see her kind of having a flashback, something with T'Challa or something to do with him, and she visits the ancestral plane. That's something where I feel like if you're doing an ancestral plane scene, you can CGI him because it would kind of fit the look of how that it's supposed to be a spiritual.
Like a goodbye.
Yeah, so you can have a moment where you have that finite end to T'Challa's character for the audience, and that kind of next level bump up to Shuri. But you can always have it as to where something's holding her back. It's like a mystery to us. Like, we don't, what happened to T'Challa? We're asking that throughout the movie. And we unpiece that as it goes along. Because I don't feel like, though Shuri does become Black Panther in the comic books, I believe Killmonger does too. But I don't think that Shuri, as shown in the movie, is ready for that yet. I feel she can grow to that. So I feel like if you're going to skip straight to that, it would have to be some sort of a time jump. Like, we saw her shooting some little wrist guns, but like, to handle all that Black Panther has to handle, fight. Yeah. So, I think she has to kind of put on maybe a little more size. But I do feel like that would be a good way to kind of usher the new era in. I mean, their backs up against the wall, not to necessarily make it a Marvel business thing, but with Endgame ending and the death of Iron Man and Captain America basically being gone too, Black Panther was like your next big guy to kind of tie this universe together. He's the richest character. He's the leader, the tech. So with that character now, with Chadwick's unfortunate passing, that kind of it's going to be interesting to see how Marvel goes about continuing their universe. Because Black Panther was a character, let's be real, Marvel did not think was going to be as successful as it was. And now that it was, they were going to use him for the future for sure. So now that Chadwick's no longer here, I feel like if you recast the role and you have another actor play T'Challa, like some people have said John David Washington, John Boyega, recasting the role, I feel like would be very distracting for people. And I only say that because with certain roles, like Superman, we've seen many actors play. Spider-Man, Batman, we've seen many actors play. But Batman and Superman are characters that we all grew up watching the TV show. The most popular comic characters, even Spider-Man. So we have this idea of what they're supposed to look like. Usually, most people based on the cartoon. We know what these characters are supposed to represent. So when we see the movie, we automatically compare it to the comic or the cartoon. Because that's what we have.
If you're a comic person.
Yeah. So that's what I say. For the average goer, you probably watched Spider-Man growing up or Batman the Animated Series. So you have something to compare it to. Black Panther wasn't as popular as those characters. So for some, the default Black Panther is Chadwick Boseman. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to compare whoever is Black Panther to Chadwick Boseman. They don't watch no Black Panther cartoon. They probably didn't read the Black Panther comic books. It's similar to how I feel and how some feel about Blade. The default Blade for people is Wesley Snipes. Little do they know, that's not Wesley Snipes' depiction of Blade is not how Eric Brooks is in the comics. But that wasn't a popular character like that back then. So their default now becomes Blade. So when you recast Blade, now you have to ask yourself, is Mahershala Ali going to be what Blade is in the comics? That's going to turn people off. Or are you just going to try to do what Wesley did? Which is, again, you're trying to do what someone else did. You're not going to do Wesley better than Wesley. So for Black Panther, I feel like a lot of people, their default Black Panther, their default T'Challa is Chadwick. So to recast him this soon is going to be distracting for a lot of people. So I feel like you'd be better off respectfully writing the character away and going with Shuri if that's going to be your... And the MCU wants to go more female-centric anyway. So that would be a good character people already like. She was one of the favorites from Black Panther. I don't feel bringing Killmonger back would really be
I did see that meme. Get an Infinity Stone or something and come back and bring him back. And
I mean, I feel like that would be a little much. I feel like Shuri would be the better bet to kind of take that on. I've seen some people say, what about M'Bagu, the M'Bagu character? I think he needs to be M'Bagu, not Black Panther.
Yeah, no.
So I feel like Shuri would be their best option going forward. And I feel like that would be the most acceptable from a fan's perspective because it doesn't feel forced because she was in it. We saw how close her and T'Challa were. So if T'Challa, just like how Chadwick probably affects her in real life because they were friends off camera, you can really bleed that into the storyline of Shuri having to shoulder that if something tragic happened to T'Challa in the movies. And it would really carry more weight with the audience because much like Paul Walker in Fast and Furious, something tragic happened to the actual actor.
Right.
So it would have a message. I mean, the what they would convey through their emotions would affect us because it really happened. So I feel like that would probably be the best route to go.
And that's what I'm wondering, like, do they have to have had extra clips or something from Black Panther 2 that they could use into this Black Panther 1 that they could use into Black Panther 2? That they have to have like a fight scene or even more dialogue within the Central Plane when he went to see his dad. I feel like you didn't get all of that in one take. There has to be some extra footage that we could use to marry the two so that he can have a proper send-off and that we could move forward with Shuri.
Well, the original cut of Black Panther was, I believe, over 3 hours. So there's a lot of deleted scenes from Black Panther.
There has to be some that they can use. And also, like, when it comes down to recasting, though, so we know that he had this illness for a while. Like, you would think that maybe did they not talk about it? Or did he...
Well, Chadwick, they said that a lot of Chadwick's, like, his closest circle knew, but a lot of people didn't know this.
Not even people he worked with? Like the producers or something? Hey.
I don't know if Kevin Feige knew. I'm not sure. I would assume that someone at Marvel had to know, because when you're doing these roles, you get physicals, you get. I'm pretty sure. Like,
Yeah,
and if
right.
it was,
like they didn't think like maybe they know. Maybe they know their plan before we know.
See, but also Chadwick's mentality was he's gonna beat this. I'm gonna beat this. So it wasn't like I'm preparing that I'm gonna die, and his mentality, no, I'm gonna be here. And I think that, I'm sure someone at Marvel knew. I actually also think it's a very good testament to his circle, the fact that the information didn't leak.
Never.
And he was
Not
dealing
once.
with this for like 6 years.
Not once.
And the fact that none of them leaked this to, especially when he did that live where you saw he was very small, and a lot of those is he sick rumors. I remember when we saw Endgame, and I turned to my boy, and I'm like, yo, does he look smaller? Like, he looks smaller than he was in Black Panther. Like, so I noticed it. I assumed, like you'd assumed, it was maybe he's playing this role or something. But the fact that nobody leaked that's a testament to the people that was around him, the circle that he had.
That just goes to show that things aren't leaked. See, things are told. Like, if people talk about leak, like somebody went through your email or something like that. No, somebody in your circle purposely said something. Like, because what you just said, they was sitting on some money information. Like, there's probably not a tabloid in the world that wouldn't have paid you so much money to know about his illness. And you mean to tell me not one of y'all said nothing? That means you literally kept that conversation with who needed to know that conversation. You didn't go at a party spilling anything. You didn't go texting, emailing, whatever. You sat there and kept it where you kept it. So that's why I'm like, but when people think, oh, things leak, I really always thought that was kind of shady. Like, I don't think anything leaked. Like, I remember, like, 50 Cent said it best. There's a sex tape out. I'll put it out. Like, I did that. Like, ain't no, like, either me or other.
You send it to an editor?
Huh?
Like, you send it to an editor? How's a sex tape leak? You're sending it out to people? Like,
right, for real. Like, he said, if a sex tape leak, it's because I did it. Like, so I really do think, like, that really showed that there's no such thing as leaks. It's just people who just like to tell and make some money. But, yeah, I mean, like, the Black Panther 2 thing, I really do like your idea. I didn't even think that far about, like, using the plane to, like, actually, to me, I just want to know what the send-off is going to be. Like, the opening credits, or you think it's going to be ending?
I think that you will get the rest in peace to him. Maybe even.
I don't even want it in the beginning, because it's just going to mess up the movie for me. I'd rather, like, let it end that way.
And I think that it's also, even beyond Black Panther, like Chadwick, like we spoke on the show about Black cinema. We spoke on the show about, Black actors, and we talk a lot about, the new generation, the new crop of Black actors.
Did we mention him?
And we have people like Boyega, Washington, B. Jordan. To me, Chadwick, for me, I feel the best. I feel he was someone that, even watching him play Black Panther, there's some people that thought he really speaks like that.
He's really African.
Yeah, like it's like, no, you remember he was Jackie Robinson. That was him.
And he was James Brown.
He was Thurgood Marshall. The brother had tremendous talent, and I really was a fan of seeing him, just the versatility and a lot of these different roles, and going from this to this, and the physicality he wanted to do with Black Panther, with doing some of the fight scenes, learning I always respect when an actor goes that route to learn the choreography when they're not necessarily a martial artist already, and they choose to do that. And I feel like Chadwick had a tremendous future. I feel like he's been out for a while, but I feel like he was really just getting started with where he was going to go.
Yeah, he was really on, like, he wasn't even on the peak. He was up. He was going up. Mm-hmm. I don't think the peak was there yet. And that's sad when you're like, you're not even at your peak. You was on the rise. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, bang. It's kind of like just like a pop song. You was on the rise. Bang. Nipsey, you was on the rise. Bang. Nobody reached their peak yet. Mm-hmm. I still like to argue Kobe didn't really reach a peak, because I feel like, yeah, basketball was done. But I think the route he was going, he was still growing and developing and was going to do way more. Mm-hmm. It's just sad that, like, it's just like at any given moment, kind of goes back to what you're saying. Like, you can't take it for granted. Like, I see you later. You don't know if I'm going to see you later. Mm-hmm. Anything can happen. And, like, I also feel like we need to, like, especially people in general, really need to utilize wills earlier in life, too. Like, that's a different conversation, though. But we shall see what happens with Black Panther 2. Our hearts go out with Chadwick Boseman's family. This is really a sad subject. Until next time, peace.